Hey everyone, a Nerd Named Mark here, and it's time to go over episode 22 of Kamen Rider Geats. I don't know anymore. I don't. Like, you figure because now we're down to our final three participants that, like, it would get really heated. Because, we know who the disaster is. It's Nan. But Ace and Kawa have not technically figured it out by now, or they probably have an idea. But, like, you think, like, Kawa even says, in his little confessional that it doesn't set right with him to like doubt other players. And we see Nan, she gets her new mission, and this time it's dealer's choice. As long as she sabotages another player, that's all that matters. But if she is identified as the disaster, then as a penalty, her you know her ideal world will remain unfulfilled forevermore. So it's like, you think we're gonna, this episode really showed the character change in Neon to really like how badly she wants her wish. We even get a new mysterious character that also kind of off balances that and kind of makes her realize everything she wants and is fighting for is really selfish when you think about it. I'm glad this is the final round, as I because like one, Shiram is really annoying. I don't really, I don't like him as a game master, and it's just like one of those things where I'm like, this hasn't felt. The pacing has just been all over the place, and it's taking me getting used to it, and I am enjoying the show still. Don't get me wrong, but I do wish we had more information and stop adding in new characters and new elements to it, but not really giving us more from what's already been given. At least push some other narratives forward a bit. Um, so as the GM is saying, once again, the overview of what the DGP works, and finally, Kawa and Neon realize Buffa's included in it, and they even question like, "Hey, wait, Buffa's back in here," and they even say like, Sharon tells them, "Hey, Buffa has a supporter, so backing him now." My issue with this is if the disaster needs to survive until two people are left and then they win, but Buff is included. There's technically four participants. So even if they hypothetically voted someone off, there'd be three people left, unless someone who's a part of the Jamato sponsor doesn't count towards that. But then it's also like, well, why do they get a fan popularity percentage? That's something I'm trying to like. That wasn't explained, and I'm just like, this doesn't make sense because he even says if someone's voted off, there's two left, and the disaster is one of them. They win, but it's like, yeah, but if someone's voted, say hypothetically, we know Neon's the disaster. Say Ace is voted off. It's between Kawa and Neon. Neon would win, except for the fact that Buffa is included in this now. So technically, she would win automatically because he's a. That's why I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand. So it's one of those things where I'm just gonna be like, all right, this is possibly just a plot hole right now. And I'm not talking about the previews for 23 because I already have some theories. But one of the things I was always curious about because Jirori always, would talk to Archimetal and they had interactions. We never got that with Shiram and him. But we do in this one. They finally call each other and he's so impatient. He's like, where's my Jamatos? I need my game to start. This is this I need like the audience is gonna get bored. And I was just like, okay. Like Argametal's reaction to him was a lot less serious compared to he's sitting there like making faces while he's on the phone, like rolling his eyes. Whereas when Jirori and him were talking, they butted heads a lot. You could tell there's a conflict between the two. The weird thing is because it's a show and the GM's like, so like I want the audience to be entertained in this and that. He decides he's going to start the game without the Jamato. And we see him with the Vision Driver. He turns into Glare 2, which slightly different. I like the helmet. I do like the Glare helmet. I'm not going to lie. But it turned into hide and seek. And this whole shtick of this game now is just comical reasons only. I mean, he has two of bot riders and they're fighting them. There's traps everywhere, which turned Kawa into the slapstick comedic role where he kept getting hit with traps over and over again. And I was like, man, my boy Kawa can't catch a break. Like anytime he's serious, he gets him. It's like, oh, the boost buckle's gonna hit him in the face, and now he's just hitting a whole bunch of traps. And I'm like, man, poor Kawa. as a Kayla fan, this hurts me. But we do get Neon actually sabotaging because she says, "Hey, to Kayla, hey, isn't that the the GM over there?" And he runs and he gets stuck in a trap where he's in a cage and dehensions. And all the time, I'm like, is this like the old board game Mousetrap right now? Because he's getting hit with water, explosions from stepping on it. Now he's in a cage, and I'm like, this is just. And all the time, Ace is noticing this stuff. So obviously, I'm just like, all right, Ace is picking up on the fact that she's the disaster. Heiwa has to realize it too, because and they're all afterwards eating, having or not eating. Kay was drinking orange juice. They're drinking some coffee, and even they start arguing back and forth a little bit and bickering, and about how Nan pointed him in the wrong direction, and even Ace brings up, "Oh, you guys are having a lovers' quarrel," and then we got the trope. They both stand up. He's not my boyfriend. She's not my girlfriend at the same time, and I was like, y'all are planting the seed. People are gonna ship Nan and Kawa, and it like I'm starting to think like that could be the thing. That's probably what's going to happen. It was nice to finally like get more interactions between those two because they haven't really because once Daichi and Sei showed up in the show, like Naon attached herself to that. Kawa kind of tied Daichi and Ace. So it was really we didn't really get to see them interact a lot with each other throughout this whole entire thing. So it was nice to kind of get some more banter between the two because I do like their dynamic a lot in the show. I really do. I thought it was great earlier on in the show because when they were, they kind of went through the same struggles together, doubting their abilities. Can they win? This and that. Ace keeps winning. So they kind of, they've been growing as characters together in their own paths throughout the DGP. So I mentioned a mysterious person. We have some unnamed new character who confronts Neon and, who says, not every viewer of Neon TV is a fan of hers and brings up, like I said, her selfishness and how she only cares for her own happiness based on her wish and this and that. And it kind of seems like my theory is he might be her supporter or he might be the fiance that her mom set up, or both, which would be very interesting and intriguing if that came out. But it was the character development of her becoming so driven towards her wish and her doubling it down with her being the disaster at the same time has been kind of cool for her character to be like not so stereotypical of how she was the whole entire time in the beginning of the show. And even Gene and Ace are having conversations, uh, about Baroba and their suspicions of it. He explains that Buffa has a supporter now, and how something's up with the lack of Jamato. Like they're planning something, so they're planting the seed that something's going down. That's basically been the plot of all this, not just the disaster and this and that. It's okay. Archimedo has these full control of the Jamato. Why isn't he deploying them? Why hasn't the game start? This doesn't feel like the DG. All that stuff's going on right now, which has been interesting. I don't hate it. It's very intriguing. I'm curious to see what the big plan is, especially after the end of the episode. Claire too, or Shiram, he just solidified more of my opinion of him being such an annoying character. Honestly, like I know this is supposed to be lighthearted and fun, the cat and mouse hide and seek. Ace is trying to shoot at him. He's doing the worm, and I'm like, really, the worm and dancing around, being very outlandish. And I was just like, man, like this is pointless, honestly. But I get why having Glare 2 right now showing up is important because while all this is going on, we're still getting that seed of like how can Nan convince Kawa that she's not disaster. So he steps on a trap, she uses her weapons with his to offset the pressure plate so they can escape before it blows up. And all the time I'm like, okay, she's really making it obvious because now that we know she is this, there's no bait and switch. There's no, these are done, to sweat. We already know it's her. So I thought that was another interesting trick in her book to kind of convince Kawa. Instead of her going the route of accusing Kawa, which did not work out for Daichi, she's focusing heavily on let's make Ace look bad and make her look good. Because how she does this is when Ace is about to shoot one of the bot riders, She purposely gets in the way to get shot and blames that Ace did it on purpose. And CK, and CK, what, he shot me, like stuff like that. Like, why would he do that? He's obviously the disaster. It's him pulling out all the last all the strings, like doing what she can to convince Kawa and that Ace is disaster, and he doesn't agree. He literally says, "It's you. You're the disaster, man." Because he even says with his ultimate detective skills. Because even Ace was surprised at first that she never tried to pin it on him, and instead he went for Ace. But Ace always plays the game perfectly. He wouldn't leave a trail that would lead to him, you know, showing that he's too good. And that's true. Ace is good. Ace always has a method to what he's doing and why he's doing it. There's no way he would purposely make a mistake that could possibly reveal that he's a disaster. He always wins. He's not going to lose. And the whole entire time this is all going on, our GM is looking on, and Buffa and Nage Sparrow confront him, and then Baroba shows up with her own little henshin gimmick, and I'm like, ooh, but we don't see what she henshins into. We just get the camera panning in on, Glare 2 as he's about to get attacked. And, this whole time while they're Nan and Ace and Kwa are talking, he's getting the break speed off of him. Okay. He gets beat, dehensions, and Baroba takes the vision driver, because that's their goal. Their goal is to get this because the vision drivers are the key to getting access to the goddess of creation, which is another statue character, just like Kekra. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, I guess, but I want some other stuff. We can't start going over towards this goddess of creation stuff when I have all this other stuff over here that hasn't been touched on and talked about. And um, right before all this happens, Gene just shows up, walking all slowly, and you know he pulls out a henshin device too. And Baroba was even trying to convince him to join them, join the Jamato side. Let's go, and he's like, no. I mean, he's an Ace fanboy. He's not going to betray Ace. Possibly, maybe, I don't know. His driver is called the Laser Riser, Raise Riser, Laser Raise Riser. I'm not saying that 10 times fast. That his henshin was really cool. I like the suit. I'm getting like futuristic Kamen Rider Drive like vibes from it. 'Cause instead of the little plates, they would, if they were tires, I'd be like, oh, let's drive in a different color, obviously. But I did like the way that suit looked. That was a pretty cool suit. As of the time of recording this, the drivers are on Amazon Japan. They are separate. You have to buy the gun with two cards separate, and the belt or together, and then the belt with two other gimmicks are its own. So obviously, I pre-ordered those. So that I can't wait. That comes out March 4th, which is gonna be crazy. And I think that's the last time I'm buying any drivers from the show, because I already have the Vision driver pre-ordered. Unless something really cool comes out, I'm done with drivers from Geats for now, for a while, anyways. Unless, like, hopefully no other cool ones come out, because I can't keep spending money on drivers. But that's in After He Henshins, and that's it. That's the end of the episode. Some of the theories I don't have many. I only have like a few. Um, if Niram has one of the Vision drivers, and Shiram is using I assume the same vision driver that Giori had. I'm wondering how many of those are meant for the keys. Is it just two? Are there more? Because when you look at the pre-order for the laser raise riser, there altogether there's four gimmicks for that. And I'm like, so there's more of those from a supporter standpoint. So is each supporter able to be a rider? Or is it one of those things where those gimmicks that they have were meant, so if they hit a level support, can they give it to who they're supporting? I have a lot of questions about that stuff, but we're not getting a lot of answers. I have a feeling, because of how everything's going in this episode, um, where disaster stuff in the sentence, probably everything's gonna be paused because now something is happening with them. You could just tell this game has gotten out of hand. We have the GM in there fighting everyone. His driver gets stolen by a supporter. We have another supporter, Gene, showing up and henching. So there's going to be a lot of chaos in the next episode. So I feel like the DGP, we're going to get, like, a hiatus from that game for a while. But that's my theory. Let me know in the comments below what your theory is and what you think of the episode. Did you like it? What do you think of the laser Raise Riser. Oh my god, I hate saying that. But thank you for watching. Like I said, comment below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Very close to 900 subscribers. And if you haven't already, every Friday I do a weekly live stream with Zio Agito on his channel called the Toku Tonic Shift. Great turnout. We just had our second stream this Friday. It's every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. A lot of fun. Been really enjoying that. But yeah, go check out his channel and join us on Friday to talk a lot of Toku. With that being said, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.